Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Jennifer with Cheeky Cat Paper, and today in this video I'm going to show you how to make a super simple pocket. And here is the prototype. This is what we'll be making, and I thought so this one you would put in horizontally into your journal, and this is double-sided, so you could clip this in and have it be removable with your items inside. This folds down if you want it to. I like it just kind of a faux flap. I leave it open. But you could also do it vertically, which is what I'm going to show in this video today. So just keep in mind you can orient it either way. So to make this, we are just going to use, I have a whole bunch of these index cards. These are just about 4 by 6. And so if you have these, it's really easy to turn these into a lot of different things. That's why I'm trying to use them up. But if you want to just use your cardstock, you can probably skip a step or two. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of these, and we're going to make the front flap. So we're basically, it needs to be a little bit smaller than this part. Obviously you want the flap to show. So I'm going to cut off, let's just do it here. This makes it really easy. I can just cut right on the line, or you could use a paper cutter if that would be easier. And then I'm just going to take a ruler and fold up each of the edges. Now I just eyeball this. You can measure it if you want. I guess I'm doing about 3/8 of an inch. That would be my guess. And having these lines here does kind of serve as a nice guide. So you just fold these up, and then I'm going to go back with my bone folder and just make those creases really nice. And then we're going to miter these corners. So if you can see where the corners meet, or where those two folds meet, that corner, you want to cut just a little bit away from there, just straight across. So I didn't cut right to that corner. I left a little space. So then what will happen is when we fold this, there'll be a little bit of overhang, and then that just gets folded right down onto the other side. So there's our front. And now I've just got a scrap piece of paper here from an old book that's got some paint on it. I was doing something, using that as a background to not get my paint everywhere. So I'm just going to use this because I kind of like that little blotch of paint. And I'm just going to glue this right down. So I'm going to take my glue stick, and I am using this Scotch Create glue stick. Now you could glue this down before you do the flaps if you want it to go over the edges and make sure none of your index card is showing beneath. But I'm just going to do it this way because I'm going to ink the edges anyway. You could also, if you want, you could take something like this and do a little sanding. Sometimes the scissors don't, sometimes it's hard to get right along that edge with the scissors. So this works particularly well if your book pages, like mine, are very old and ready to fall apart anyway. It just usually takes a couple of back and forth across there. And there we go. Okay. Oops. So now I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges, like I said. Okay, and then this is the fun part. We get to decorate it. So I've got some things here that I was planning on using. I've got this little sprig, and I've got a little butterfly, and I just took a little bit of paper bag and I used my little alphabet stamps, and I stamped "Be Still" on there and a little piece of lace. And I think I'll just layer that, something like this. That's a little too long. And trim this. Like that, and then maybe put this butterfly in here, something like that. Underneath? No, on top. And then I've also inked the edges of these. I just did that off camera, so. Okay, so let's glue this down. I'm going to use this tape again. I mean, this glue, so this tape. Okay, and this is a little tricky. I'm going to need a little piece of backing paper. And lay that down. And then we'll do the butterfly. I've glued my butterfly. Now, normally I wouldn't mind if things hung off the edge a little bit, but in this case, this is going to be the pocket edge, and I don't want these things to get in the way of whatever is going to go inside. And I'm going to lay the lace down. And then we'll just place this right on top. Oh, you know what? I'm going to use Fabri-Tac because it does not want to stick to that lace. This will work better. Okay, so there it is. And then all we have to do now is put our backing on. Okay, so now I'm just going to take one of the blank ones, which is going to be the flap in the back. And I'm just going to mark edge here by folding it over. So now I know where I need to cut it. And if you use your paper cutter, it'll probably be a straighter line, but I don't happen to have mine here, so. Okay, so now we want something on the background here as well. So I'm just going to take my little scrap and glue that on. And you could use whatever you want to put on here, as long as it's just maybe slightly bigger than the flap. You want it to come down a little bit below so we don't see the edge. Okay, and then I'll just cut off the excess here. And I'm gonna, as you can see, I have these rounded edges up here to make it look more like a flap. This I also just eyeball, but if you want to be more specific, okay, so that's, I know where it starts, and I'm just going to take a little corner, and then when I get to the end, I just round it out. And if you wanted to be really precise about this, you could take this piece, flip it over, put it over here, and outline it so you would get exactly the same curve. I usually just eyeball it, but it's entirely up to you and how much of a perfectionist you are. Okay, so now the next step is to just go ahead and ink those edges. And then we'll glue this on here. And that is it. Now, if you want, you could also put another sheet on the back and decorate that side as well if you want it to be a clip-in. For this one, I think I'm just going to glue it straight into my journal. So this is done. And as you can see, we have a nice little pocket here, a vertical pocket for whatever you want to put in there. And that's it. Super easy. I hope you enjoyed making this with me. And if you like this video, please hit that button down there and subscribe. I also have a newsletter. If you subscribe to that, you'll get some free ephemera. The newsletter goes out about once a month, and you'll get some free ephemera and exclusive discounts to my Etsy site, where I sell various junk journals and other things, digital prints, things like that. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.